We had a setback yesterday in the Second Amendment community in reference to assault weapon bans and magazine bans. Before I jump into that, I want to thank the sponsor of the video, and that's the Sonoran Desert Institute. SDI is an accredited college. It's a distance learning institute where everything is mailed right to your door, where you can take individual classes or you can even earn your degree in classes such as ballistics or gunsmithing and the like. There's a ton of different options. You can check out their link down below. It's sdi.edu/GNG, and they even have financial aid available. Check them out, guys and gals, sdi.edu/GNG. Thanks to SDI for sponsoring this video. Hey guys, my name is Jared. This is Guns and Gadgets, and I bring you Second Amendment news every single day. Thank you for your time. If you want to stay in the loop, because stuff is always happening, I put out videos every day, oftentimes multiple times a day. So subscribe to this channel down below. Help us get closer to 700,000 subscribers. And I thank you for your time. I also want to thank everybody for getting me to that magic 650,000 subscriber mark. 1 week after my birthday, the birthday was the goal. Thank you for getting us there. I also want to thank everybody for the successful launch for my birthday t-shirt, which is Only You Can Prevent Tyranny. It did sell out immediately, but as of last night, they are restocked, so check them out. And also, you might have seen the soft launch I did yesterday on this shirt, Live Free, Die Free. You can check out these shirts at the link below. All right, so let's talk about the setback we had out of Connecticut. In this case is the National Association for Gun Rights and Tony Flanagan versus Edward M. Lamont Jr., who is the governor of Connecticut. Now, NAGR, they had filed a lawsuit against Connecticut's assault weapon ban and LCM, large capacity magazine ban, saying that it violated the Bruen decision, and it also violated the Heller decision. Bruen decision being the text, history, and tradition of firearms regulation at the time of the adoption of the Second Amendment, and then the Heller decision saying those items that are in common use cannot be banned. This judge stretched. Now, this judge is a Clinton-appointed judge. This judge is an activist judge, and it's very clear what side of the coin this judge sits on, even though they're supposed to be impartial. Check this out. On December 14th, 2012, at Sandy Hook Elementary School, a shooter armed with an AR-15 and 2 semi-automatic pistols fired 154 shots in less than 5 minutes and killed 26 people. In response, the Connecticut State Legislature passed an act concerning gun violence prevention and children's safety in 2013. Two provisions of that law are Connecticut General Statute 53202CA and 53202W, B, and C, the challenged statutes, which restrict the ability of individuals in the state of Connecticut to own, purchase, and use specific types of firearms and accessories collectively defined as assault weapons, as well as large capacity magazines, which are magazines with the capacity to hold more than 10 rounds of ammunition. The Plaintiffs' National Association for Gun Rights and Tony Teresa Spera Flanagan believe that by prohibiting them from purchasing the banned assault weapons and large capacity magazines, the challenged statutes violate their Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. Their view is grounded in the Supreme Court's decision in District of Columbia versus Heller that a complete ban on handguns violates the individual Second Amendment rights to keep and bear arms, as well as the Supreme Court's more recent holding in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruen, that any law restricting the right to keep and bear arms under the Second Amendment is only justified if the government can demonstrate that it is consistent with the nation's history and tradition of firearm regulation. Plaintiffs' suit against defendants Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont, Chief State Attorney Patrick Griffin, and Charmise Walcott, the state's attorney for the Hartford Judicial District, seeks to have enforcement of the challenge statutes permanently enjoined as unconstitutional. Currently before the court is plaintiff's motion for a preliminary injunction seeking to temporarily enjoin enforcement of the challenge statutes until final disposition of the case. For the reasons discussed below, the court denies plaintiff's motion for a preliminary injunction because they have failed to meet the burden to demonstrate a likelihood of success on their claim that the challenge statutes unconstitutionally burden the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. Plaintiffs' proposed ownership of assault weapons and large capacity magazines is not protected by the Second Amendment because they have not demonstrated that the specific assault weapons and large capacity magazines in the challenge statutes are commonly sought out, purchased, and used for self-defense. Although this failure alone would have been fatal to the plaintiff's claim, the defendants have submitted persuasive evidence that assault weapons and large capacity magazines are more often sought out for their militaristic characteristics than for self-defense. That these characteristics make the weapon disproportionately dangerous to the public based on their increased capacity for lethality, and that assault weapons and large capacity magazines are more often used in crimes and mass shootings than in self-defense. Defendants also show through the submission of historical analogs, statutes, and expert declarations that when a modern innovation in firearm technology results in a particular type of weapon or method of carrying being utilized for unlawful purposes to terrorize and endanger the public, the nation has a long-standing history and tradition of regulating those aspects with the weapons or manners of carry that correlate with the rising firearm violence. The record shows that the challenge statutes are consistent with that purpose and impose a comparable level of burden to the relevantly similar historical analogs the defendants submitted. Wow. So let's unpack that a little bit. Common layman's terms. Told you what NAGR was suing for. This judge says, nah. We can do this. Why? Because people aren't looking for these types of firearms for self-defense. No. Well, part of that reason is because they're illegal and you can't buy them in Connecticut. So people can't, on the record, look for them, right? So you can't prove people are trying to buy them because they're not allowed in the state. Nationally, people are looking to buy AR-15s, AK-47s, and whatever else these states look to ban. Large capacity magazines, they're actually standard capacity magazines. That's what comes with these firearms from the manufacturer when they were made. We've done this a lot, but I know there's a lot of new people on the channel. So I want them to understand that I am not in favor of banning anything. But we have to poke holes in these activist judges when they make these decisions. Now, this is just for the preliminary injunction. This is not the end of the case. The case will continue, but the judge is saying that I say from here on my giant throne that you and your Second Amendment has not been violated because these items are not in common use for self-defense. So according to this judge, the only way that AR-15s and say 30-round mags were going to be protected by the Second Amendment is if we were out mowing down all the criminals who are affecting our lives and violating our freedoms and liberties and life with ARs, AKs, and 30-round mags. Yeah, I know, sounds like fun, but obviously this judge's decision is in error. Obviously this judge is out of her mind. And the last part where the judge says that there is a history of this nation cracking down on types of firearms used for enhanced lethality and stuff like that, she's referring to the National Firearms Act. And the NFA, if you haven't read that whole thing, that case, the NFA was put in effect to stop gangsters, to stop mob members from, in their words, carrying sawed-off shotguns and machine guns and from terrorizing the citizens. So the then Attorney General said that he wants this NFA in as a new law, not because gangsters and the like will submit their fingerprints and photograph, but because that they won't do that and they need something to convict them on. Yeah, it's actually in black and white in type. You can look at that up. So this judge is saying that the NFA, which isn't that old when you're talking about text, history, and tradition, that the NFA is that text, history, and tradition. And this judge could not be more wrong. So bump in the road for NAGR and Connecticut. However, the case will continue, but they already have seen the light that this activist judge is saying, yeah, you're more likely than not going to win this case based off the merits. So NAGR's got some work to do if they're going to convince this judge otherwise. Sounds like the appeals game will be in order here, and I'll see what NAGR has as far as a long-term game plan on this one. Guys and gals, it's not over, but right now the anti-gunners in Connecticut are parading this around. This came out yesterday while I was flying here to DC, Northern Virginia area, but they're parading this around saying that this assault weapon ban and large capacity magazine ban in Connecticut has firm footing when it comes to the Bruin test and the Heller test. And they're so wrong. Bump in the road. Guys and gals, thank you for your time. If you interested in any of the t-shirts from Guns and Gadgets, check out my link down below. And don't forget to check out SDI and have a fantastic day. I'll see you all in the next one. And if you're coming to the Guns Out TV event here in Ashburn, Virginia, feel free to say hi. Take care, y'all.